Hello and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. Today we're covering information about the update to the balancing of skills, just for the update with Yu-Gi-Oh Zeal World coming to Duel Links. This was in effect of October 2020. Before we start, make sure to like the video if you enjoy it, and don't forget to subscribe for more daily Yu-Gi-Oh content. So with Zeal comes some drastic changes. Skills, we'll mention restart, so it changed to requiring 7+ spell and trap cards in your deck, which means you can't just go into exactly what you want. It does have a limitation to it. Switcheroo has changed so that it's every 1,500 life points from 1,000 life points, and Bandit has changed to every 1,500 life points from 1,000 life points. Shadow Games changed both players lose 100 life points equal to the number of cards in their graveyard up to a maximum of 400, and players with less than 1,000 life points are unaffected. I don't think that skill is actually going to be used anymore with that kind of limitation to it. The whole point of it was, I think, with both Marek and with Bakura, that using that effect, if you've dumped multiple cards, then even if you're taking damage and your opponent's taking damage, so long as you have multiple burn cards to go alongside that, your opponent will be taking a lot. And the preservation of at least 1,000 life points means it's definitely not going to be used. Access denied is changed to on the 5th turn onwards, neither player can summon an effect or activate effects of their monsters until your opponent's next end phase. It can only be used once per duel. I'm not sure how effective this was. I suppose if you're playing a normal strategy, then that's okay. Ojama Overflow has changed to when your life points are 500 or less, you can play as many Ojama tokens as possible to your opponent's side of the field. I'm guessing the point of this is just to lock your opponent out of summoning or doing anything. I mean, if they can't tribute over those cards, if they don't have the cards relevant to doing anything, that's a nightmare for them, and then you could just burn them for, life point damage. Show of Nightmares has changed to when you have 3 spells or more spells in your graveyard, you can add 1 random spell from your deck to your hand, and then return 1 card from your hand to your deck. This effect can only be used now once per duel. It depends on what type of deck you're running. If you're running something like a Dark Magician deck that relies on its spell cards, then that's okay. And that's the only application I can think of it. Moth to a Flame has changed to double the speed counters for Petite Moth equipped with Cocoon of Evolution. And if you control a Petite Moth equipped with Cocoon of Evolution, you can add 1 large moth, Great Moth, and Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth to your hand. I like that they've doubled the speed counters. I think that means that you can, rather than it taking 6 turns to bring out your Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth, it takes 3 turns now. This means that at least it can make using Weevil Underwood that much stronger, and actually it keeps true to how his deck likes to run, with that being his boss monster. Afterlife Lockdown has changed to while you control a Cubic monster, when your opponent's monster is destroyed by battle, return them to the deck. This can be used once per turn and twice per duel. I think this is quite a good thing because Cubics have had a bit of support recently, and I think they're becoming a little bit more viable, which means, you want to be kind of reducing the effects of them that much more, so they're not too much in the metaverse. And then, of course, last thing is Red Eyes Fusion. It's changed to when your life points are 2,400 or less, you can return 1 Red Eyes card from your hand to the deck, or 1 Red Eyes Black Dragon from your graveyard to your deck, to add 1 Red Eyes Fusion to your hand, and it can only be used once per duel. Interesting thing is, the 2,400 life points thing reflects to the attack points of a Red Eyes Black Dragon. The limitation on it means that it being a once per duel effect means you're able to instantly go into that, into your Red Eyes Fusion monster quite easily, but it's a little bit less consistent, which means, you're not being over-dominated by those cards. As for the Forbidden Unlimited list, so here we go, we've got Cyberstein. They're saying about the Ojama King FTK. because you can gain life points instantly and actually block your opponent from using their monster zones, because when you get Ojama King, you instantly can lock out 3 zones, and you've got 3 monster zones to use, so that's what the point. That grass looks greener. The point of that, I know for Light Swarms, is a nightmare, and Witchcraft abuses to set up the graveyard. If you have certain, Light Swarms in your graveyard and are able to go into your Judgment Dragon instantly, even if you're not, and just able to get Michael out onto the field, that's an instant, banish your opponent's card, and they can't really respond to that effectively. The limitations to 1, Star Blast allows people to abuse skills that require life point cost. Yes, I can understand that, because if they have things which need you to be on a set life points, the whole point is you don't want you to be able to control how much you're taking it in terms of damage, so because otherwise that's just unfair for your opponent. The other thing is it provides you with an advantage anyway. I mean, cutting down your the levels on monsters means you can summon them much easier. Needlebug Nest, it has the same reason for that grass looks greener. It just mills the top 5 cards from your deck to your graveyard. And Revival Gift, limited to prevent summoning tokens to opponent's field and inhibiting their ability to play. So the whole point is generating the tokens. I think they've got 1,500 attack and defense, if I'm not mistaken on that. And because it summons 2 of them to your opponent's field, if they don't have, well, they'll have 1 monster zone to use, and that might not be enough to work with what they want to use. Limited to 2, Gold Sarcophagus, limited to prevent allowing multiple copies with Charge of the Light Brigade. Again, Light Swarms are dominating the meta at the moment. It also, unlike something like Different Dimension Capsule, Gold Sarcophagus cannot really be responded to. It can't be destroyed. It already hits the graveyard, unless you kind of deal with it. When it's activated, it's not going to work. Charge of the Light Brigade, tighten limitations to give metagame more diversity. Again, Light Swarms are a pain to face against. Karakuri Kamachi MDL 224 Ninchi, limited to prevent Karakuri decks from a generic limited 2 card. I can't remember for the life of me what it does. I think that was one of the recent cards introduced within the last set or so. And, well, the last set before Yu-Gi-Oh! Zeal was introduced, and so I think it was quite a powerful card for the deck. Keeper of Dragon Magic, limited, so can't be played along with multiple limited 2 cards. I think that's the one where you basically tribute it, and it acts as 2 tributes for a dragon-type monster. It's deadly within Red Eyes decks and Blue Eyes decks. Blackbird, close and powerful counter trap and difficult to play around. That can be activated from the hand. I remember what that card is. I think it summons out Blackwing Dragon as well, so it can not only negate an effect, it instantly brings out a 2,800 attack synchro monster. So that's difficult enough to play around, whilst also shutting you down. Witchcraft a Holiday is limited, so multiple copies couldn't be played with Charge for the Light Brigade. The whole point is you don't want to kind of under limit or over limit certain things, and you don't want to just be facing the same whole thing every day of the week. Limited to 3, Alistair the Invoked, limited because too many high win rate decks use this card. Yeah, tell me about it. I've seen it so many times where they've been used, just abused like anything. And the thing is that Alistair and Invocation basically kind of loop with each other, so one returns 1 to the hand, and then it recovers itself back to the deck, and then it's a load of aggro, and then you've got all of the fusion monsters that they have, which are quite powerful themselves, that are just a pain to kind of counter or go against. And no longer unlimited are Thunder Dragon Dark, changed due to limiting of Charge of the Light Brigade, so they're kind of, because they're punishing that side of it, they're kind of unlimiting that. And Elemental Saber Mellow, it's changed because power level of game allowed it to be unlimited, so I can't remember what Mellow was. I think, is that the fire one? You can correct me down below in the description if not, but yeah, if that's the fire one, that's the one that kind of searches out and dumps cards. which means you would ordinarily be able to just turbo out your elemental Lord monsters that much sooner. So yeah, I can understand why that's been done. So what do you think of these limitations and restrictions? Is there anything you like about them? What cards are you actually missing? Whatever you think, leave comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe for more daily Yu-Gi-Oh content.